It is time for the cornerback position. Let's get it. I am super excited to talk about this because this is one of my favorite position groups. I believe they will be the strength of this team. We are talking about the cornerback, the defensive back position. And I am super excited to see these boys get to work. I am going to drop down how I kind of see how this thing playing out when it comes to first and second stream, who makes the cut, who goes to the practice squad. With that said, before I jump into this video, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get all my videos when they drop immediately when I drop a video and or go live. So that said, before I get into my backups and or starters, we're going to cut and trim down some of these folks. Now, how I use these standards is kind of how the Detroit Lions went with the past through 2016, 17, 18, and what I believe is going to happen in 19. So they usually kept around 6 to 7 defensive back cornerbacks for this team. It's going to be a little different today because one of the players that is making the squad is predominantly used on special teams. So I was going to do 6 cornerbacks, so I end up making 7 because one of those individuals is going to be on special teams, playing more of a role there than anything else. Let's start this thing. So let me get into the individuals that's going to get cut before we get into the roster individuals. So the first one is Andrew Chereshi. I destroyed his name, that's okay. Another one is D Virgin, he is gone. Another individual is Marcus Cooper, he is cut. Now, that leaves with an individual who I believe will make the practice squad. He actually played for us last year some of the times, and that's Mr. Mike Ford. I think he makes the practice squad. What I like about Mike Ford is he was an undrafted free agent. He came in last year and helped the defense out. He wasn't the greatest cornerback on the roster, but he was a lot better than some of the other individuals, and he showed a lot of promise. To me, he should definitely make the practice squad. I think there's so much talent when it comes to the cornerback position that he won't make the roster ultimately, because I believe there's a couple individuals that's starting to make their stride and who will eventually make the team due to all the hard work that they put in this offseason. Now, when it comes to Mr. Mike Ford, he had 0 interceptions, 1 pass defense, and 23. I believe he makes the practice squad, and he will help our team develop. Because, hey, that's not bad to have this individual in the practice squad. Again, he is a free agent last year, so he could be in the practice squad this year and or next year, because it goes up to 3 years. Now, when it comes to Mike Ford, if there's an injury, he can come back to the roster, just like he did last year, and help out. Now, let me get into the individuals that made the team barely. Now, let's go head to the 6th individual I have this roster, and that's Mr. Tease Tabor. Now, he's going into his 3rd year. He's had a rough patch, but he put his ego away, and he's starting doing a lot better when it comes to training and working hard. Last year, he had 28 solo tackles, 0 interceptions, and we all know he had a rough season. So when it comes to Tease Tabor, he does have ball skills. And when he was in college, that's what he was known for. However, he had a little bit of an ego. His ego got ahead of him and kind of disrupted his game. He decided to completely turn all that stuff off. And now he's working very hard to make the team. And I believe ultimately he does make a splash. And he makes the team to the 53-man roster. Now, I initially have him as a backup, but we know with Patricia's defense, he can be utilized in and out with different sub-packages. And when it comes to injury, he definitely could fill in for somebody. And hopefully he takes that next step and makes the squad. The next individual I'm going to be talking about is predominantly special teams. Now, that's Jamal Agnew. He had 7 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 interceptions. He didn't do a whole lot on defense. That was due to injury, as well as he does special teams and offense. When it comes to Jamal Agnew, he makes the squad because he can be utilized in so many different roles for this team. He is a special player, a playmaker. He can kill people on offense, he can kill people on special teams, and he can play defense if need be. That is a huge boost to this team since he's so multi-dimensional. He can be utilized on many different fronts, and that is special to have. He is literally Detroit Lions' Swiss Army knife, and I absolutely love the guy because he can catch fire in a bottle and just smoke fools on a team, and that's what we need for this roster. Now, when it comes to an individual who I believe is a backup and he's going to develop eventually into a quality starter, and that is Amani. Arure, I destroyed his last name, so I just call him Amani, is a special player. We drafted him last year. He should have been in the second round, in my opinion. We got him in the 5th round. Cornerback, who is a steal, in my opinion. One of the greatest draft picks last year, considering the position and where we got him. He is a fantastic player. Now, as a senior, he was a full-time starter for the last season at the right position of contact, right where his hand can be when he needs to jump exactly to knock that ball down. He is also an interception machine. He is very good when it comes to ball skills. He is an individual that can really help this team. He's a big cornerback. So that is also special, especially coming to this league now, is the ability to have size compared to the wide receiver is spectacular. I love it. He wins the eyeball test when it comes to size and strength. He eventually probably could replace Darius Slay, and he has that potential. But with the depth that we have at the cornerback position, the defensive back position, we don't need to start this man right now, and that is good because cornerback is a hard position to learn as a rookie. And so I am super excited about this pick. I am super excited to see this guy play in the preseason and sub packages throughout the season, which we will see, folks, because he's a special player. Why wouldn't they do that? And now, when it comes to the 3rd cornerback on this roster, we got him via free agency from the Seattle Seahawks. He was one of the, if not the best, nickel cornerbacks last year in the NFL, and that is Justin Coleman. He is a beast with 41 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and he is a special player. Now, he plays in the slot predominantly. We will see him go out in different packages, whether it be the 2nd string and or 1st string, because Patricia does crazy defenses like that. But you'll predominantly be seeing him against a slot receiver, and that's where he is very good at and excellent at. He replaces Mr. Nevin Lawson, who was just absolute trash for our team, and he will dominate the position and make our secondary take it to that next level. And I am super excited to see this happen because I love secondary play, and he is a fantastic player, folks, and he's going to help our team out, and that's what we want. We're going to see packages where Mr. Coleman plays different roles, and he's going to be making a lot of big-time plays for our team. Now, when it comes to our 2nd string quarterback, we're going to go into an individual we do not hear a lot about, and that not necessarily is a bad thing. Just like I said the other day, and I always say, when a cornerback or a defensive back or a safety, his name is not heard of a lot, that cannot be just a bad thing. That can be a really good thing because that means he's not screwing up a lot. So when it comes to our 2nd string cornerback, going Rashawn Melvin. Now, he had 56 tackles. He had 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles with 1 interception. Now, he can play that 2nd string wide receiver and break him up a little bit. He is a taller cornerback at 6'2". Weight is 194 pounds, and he is at the ripe age of 29. So he is coming to his own perfectly when it comes to cornerback position. I think he holds his own a lot better than we had last year, and that is a good thing because our cornerbacks, our safeties last year, when you have one that does not fit, it's like an apple. It spoils the bunch. The thing can collapse. When we had Nevin Lawson and we had Quinn, it really hurt our team. Now, having an individual like Rashawn Melvin will solidify that number 2 spot and will put a Band-Aid on that massive wound, and he will help our defense out immensely. And I am super excited to see this man play. Now, we all know who the number 1 is. We all know what's going to be placed here. There is a controversy about Mr. Number 1, and that is because he missed the OTAs. Folks, let me reiterate. I believe Mr. Number 1, Darius Slay, he shows up for training camp because he's still got 2 years on his contract. He will have to show up and play because, folks, it's not 1 year, he's got 2 years, and he's just simply trying to play the game where he can get in 1 foot up on negotiations, but it's not going to work. He shows up, and he continues to be a very high-profile cornerback for our team. Now, he had 43 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles with 3 interceptions, because Darius Slay is a very good cornerback, and he is getting paid like one, as he's the 13th best cornerback in the NFL getting paid. He's just going to have to wait another year for a contract extension, and if he wants to play Mr. Pout Pout, just like I said earlier, the individual Amani that we drafted will probably be his replacement. Again, Darius Slay is a really good player. However, again, he does have his moments where he gets injured. I don't know if it's due to he had a nagging injury last year, or if it was spontaneous and it kind of just happened. But it seemed like a lot of plays last year he's getting injured. With that said, he's had a off season to heal up his body and play for us and hopefully become a dominant number 1 cornerback for our team to really help out. Now, when it comes to our cornerbacks, again, you have to have a very good defensive line, and I will be going into that tomorrow and talk about the defensive line for the Detroit Lions. Now, our defensive line is much improved, thus it will help our secondary out, because the less time the cornerback has to throw the ball, he makes errant decisions, and our cornerbacks will make him suffer through picks. With that said, folks, tell me what I did right. Tell me what I did wrong. Comment. Please comment. Hit that like button. Let's get this thing to go high up when it comes to YouTube videos, because, as you know, I'm part of the Detroit Sports Alliance, and I am trying to take us to the next level and beat the living hell out of these fake news, Freep, and other news outlets that decide to cover the Detroit Lions. And we bring facts over fiction, because that's what we do here in Detroit.